She was a widow, but not an ordinary widow. Every night, when the village slept, she would creep out of her house with a small bag. She would walk the streets, searching for fresh footprints in the sand. And when she found them, she would collect the sand from those footprints and take it home. What she did with that sand was pure evil. And what happened when people discovered her secret shocked the entire village. Stay with me as I share this chilling story of dark practices, karma, and the power of truth. In a remote village in West Africa, surrounded by dense forests and far from the noise of cities, lived a close-knit community. Everyone knew everyone. Families had lived there for generations. The village was peaceful. Farmers worked their land. Children played in the streets. Women gathered at the well to fetch water and share stories. Elders sat under the big baobab tree, settling disputes and giving wisdom. But something dark was about to disturb this peace. Something that had been happening in secret for months. People in the village started getting sick. Not the normal kind of sick. This was different. Strong young men would suddenly become weak and unable to work. Healthy women would develop mysterious pains that no medicine could cure. Children who were full of life would become strangely tired and sad. The village healer, Mama Adaeze, was confused. "I have treated every known sickness," she would say. "But this is not natural." Families began to suffer. Businesses failed. Crops withered for no reason. It was as if a dark cloud had settled over certain homes. And the strangest thing? It seemed random. There was no pattern to who got affected and who didn't. People whispered among themselves. "Is it a curse?" some asked. "Has someone angered the ancestors?" Others wondered. But no one suspected the truth. No one suspected the quiet widow who lived alone at the edge of the village. Her name was Mama Adaeze. She was 58 years old. She had been a widow for 15 years, ever since her husband died. Mama Adaeze always wore black. Her face was hard and cold. She rarely smiled. She kept to herself and spoke to no one unless necessary. People pitied her at first. "Poor woman," they would say. "She lost her husband and has no children. She must be so lonely." They tried to include her in village activities. They invited her to ceremonies. They offered to help her with her small farm. But Mama Adaeze always refused. "I want nothing from anyone," she would say coldly. "Leave me alone." Over time, people stopped trying. They let her be. She became like a ghost in the village there, but not really part of the community. What people didn't know was that Mama Adaeze was hiding a terrible secret. A secret that had started 5 years ago, after she visited a dark spiritualist in a faraway town. The spiritualist had promised her power. Power to control your enemies. Power to take from those who have what you lack. Power to never be weak again. And he taught her a ritual. A dark, evil ritual. Collect sand from people's footprints, the spiritualist instructed. Bring it to your home. Perform the ritual I will teach you. And you can steal their strength, their luck, their blessings. Everything they have will slowly become yours. Mama Adaeze's eyes had gleamed with greed. Everything. Everything. But there is a price. If you are ever discovered, the curse will return to you tenfold. The spirits do not forgive betrayal of their secrets. Mama Adaeze didn't care about the warning. She was consumed by bitterness and envy. She was tired of being poor while others prospered. Tired of being alone while others had families. Tired of being forgotten while others were celebrated. "I will take what should have been mine," she whispered. And so, for 5 years, she had been doing it. Every night, after midnight, when the village was asleep, Mama Adaeze would creep out of her house dressed in dark clothes. She carried a small leather bag and a wooden spoon. She would walk the village paths, searching for fresh footprints in the sandy ground. When she found them, she would kneel down and carefully scoop the sand from the center of the footprint into her bag. She targeted specific people. Successful farmers whose crops always flourished. Happy families with many children. Respected elders who had the community's love. Hardworking youth who were building good futures. Anyone who had something she wanted became her victim. Back in her house, in a dark room that smelled of strange herbs and burning incense, Mama Adaeze would perform her evil ritual. She would call the names of her victims. She would curse them. She would petition dark spirits to transfer their blessings to her. And slowly, horribly, it worked. The people whose footprints she collected began to suffer. Their strength would fade. Their luck would turn. Their joy would disappear. Meanwhile, Mama Adaeze's small farm began producing better crops than ever before. Money that she never had before started coming to her through strange means. She would find it, or distant relatives would suddenly send it. She grew stronger while her victims grew weaker. And she felt no guilt, only satisfaction. This is justice, she would tell herself. I suffered for too long. Now it's my turn to have good things. But evil never goes unpunished forever. And the universe was about to expose her in the most shocking way. One morning, a young farmer named Chitty woke up feeling strange. His body ached all over. His head throbbed. But worse than the physical pain was a heaviness in his spirit. It felt like all the joy had been sucked out of his life. I must have worked too hard yesterday, he told his wife, Ngozi. I'll rest today. But the next day, he felt even worse. And the day after that, even worse. Within a week, Chitty could barely get out of bed. His crops, which had been thriving, suddenly began to wither. His animals became sick. Ngozi was terrified. What's happening to us? We were fine last month. The village healer, Mama Kemi, came to examine Chitty. She burned herbs, said prayers, gave him medicine. Nothing worked. This is not a natural illness, Mama Kemi finally admitted. Something spiritual is attacking him. But Chitty wasn't the only one. A respected elder named Papa Obi, who had always been strong and wise, suddenly became confused and weak. He forgot things. He couldn't walk without help. A successful trader named Sister Blessing lost all her customers within 2 weeks. Her goods spoiled. Her money disappeared. She couldn't understand why. A young teacher named Brother Emmanuel, who was beloved by the village children, became so depressed he stopped going to school. He sat in his house, staring at nothing. One by one, the strongest, most successful, most beloved people in the village were falling. The community was terrified. What kind of evil has entered our village? People asked in fear. Emergency meetings were called. Prayers were held. The village sent for powerful spiritual leaders from neighboring towns. But nothing helped. The sickness continued to spread. And still, no one suspected the quiet widow in the black dress who watched it all with cold, satisfied eyes. But someone did notice something strange. Her name was Little Amara. She was only 10 years old, the daughter of one of the suffering families. Amara had trouble sleeping at night. She would often wake up around midnight and look out her window at the moon. One night, unable to sleep, she was sitting by her window when she saw something move in the darkness. A figure, dressed all in black, walking slowly down the village path. Amara squinted. Who would be walking around this late? She watched as the figure stopped in the middle of the path. The moon came from behind a cloud, and Amara could see more clearly. It was a woman. An old woman. She was bending down, doing something on the ground. Amara was curious. She watched silently. The woman seemed to be digging or scooping something. Then she stood up, looked around nervously, and continued walking. Amara's young mind was puzzled. Why is that woman collecting sand at night? The next night, Amara couldn't sleep again. And again, she saw the same figure. This time, she recognized the woman. That's Mama Adaeze, she whispered to herself. Why is she collecting sand in the middle of the night? Amara watched this happen for 3 nights in a row. Each time, Mama Adaeze would stop at different spots, scoop sand, and move on. On the 4th day, Amara told her mother what she had seen. Mama, I saw Mama Adaeze walking around at night. She was collecting sand from the ground. Her mother, tired and worried about her sick husband, barely paid attention. Amara, don't tell stories. Mama Adaeze wouldn't be walking around at night. But Mama, I really saw her. For many nights. Enough, Amara. Go help your sister with the chores. Amara was frustrated that her mother didn't believe her. But she was a clever girl. She decided to tell someone else. She went to visit Mama Kemi, the village healer. Mama Kemi was in her compound, grinding herbs, when little Amara arrived. Mama Kemi, I need to tell you something important, Amara said seriously. Mama Kemi smiled at the child. What is it, little one? I've been seeing Mama Adaeze walking around at night. She collects sand from the ground. She does it when everyone is sleeping. Mama Kemi's hands stopped grinding. Her face became serious. You saw this? With your own eyes. Yes, Mama Kemi. For many nights. I see her from my window. Mama Kemi stood up slowly. Her mind was racing. For weeks, she had been trying to understand the mysterious sickness affecting the village. She knew it was spiritual. She knew it was deliberate. But she couldn't figure out the source. Now, this child's words triggered something in her memory. Sand from footprints, Mama Kemi whispered. It's an old dark practice. I read about it years ago. She looked at Amara with new urgency. Child, this is very important. Can you show me where you saw her collecting the sand? Yes, Mama Kemi. That evening, as the sun set, Mama Kemi and Amara walked around the village. Amara pointed to the different spots where she had seen Mama Adaeze stop. Mama Kemi examined each location carefully, and then she saw it disturbed sand in specific patterns. Footprints that had been deliberately dug out. Her blood ran cold. Footprint sorcery, she whispered. One of the darkest practices. She knelt down and touched the sand. She closed her eyes and prayed. And in her spirit, she felt the evil that had been done in these places. Mama Kemi stood up, her face grave. Amara, you are a very brave and observant girl. You may have just saved our village. That night, Mama Kemi didn't sleep. She prepared herself spiritually. She gathered specific herbs and protective items. And she made a plan. If Mama Adaeze was indeed practicing footprint sorcery, she had to be caught in the act. Only then would the village believe. Only then could the curse be broken. Mama Kemi sent word to the village chief. Tonight, gather a group of trusted men. We will watch the village paths. And we will discover the source of our suffering. That night, the moon was bright and full. Mama Kemi positioned herself and 5 village men at strategic locations around the village. They hid in shadows, behind trees, in corners where they could see but not be seen. Stay silent, Mama Kemi instructed. If we see anything suspicious, we will signal each other. No one moves until I give the sign. They waited. Hours passed. Midnight came and went. Just when some of the men were starting to think nothing would happen, one of them saw movement. A figure in black, moving slowly, carefully, down the main path. The man signaled to the others. Everyone became alert. They watched as the figure stopped, looked around nervously, then knelt down in the middle of the path. Mama Kemi recognized the silhouette immediately. Mama Adaeze. She was bending over a fresh footprint, scooping the sand into her bag, just as Amara had described. Mama Kemi's heart pounded. They had to catch her with the evidence. But they had to be smart about it. She waited. Mama Adaeze finished at that spot and moved to another location. Then another. When Mama Adaeze was far enough from her house and had collected sand from multiple spots, Mama Kemi gave the signal. The village men quietly surrounded Mama Adaeze from all sides. Then, Mama Kemi stepped out of the shadows, holding a burning torch. Mama Adaeze. Her voice rang out in the quiet night. Mama Adaeze jumped in shock. Her bag fell from her hands, spilling sand everywhere. She looked around wildly and saw she was surrounded. What are you doing here? She stammered. The question is, what are you doing here, Mama Adaeze? Mama Kemi's voice was firm and powerful. What are you collecting from people's footprints in the middle of the night? I was just taking a walk. With a bag full of sand from footprints? Do not lie to me, woman. The village men moved closer, their faces stern. One of them picked up Mama Adaeze's fallen bag and opened it. Inside was sand, mixed with strange dark powder and small bones. What is this? He demanded, showing it to everyone. Mama Adaeze's face turned pale. She tried to run, but the men blocked every direction. "Bring her to the chief," Mama Kemi commanded. "And bring that bag. We will expose this evil once and for all." As they led Mama Adaeze through the village, her protests turned to threats. "You fools! You have no idea what you're doing. Leave me alone. This is none of your business." But they didn't stop. They brought her straight to the chief's compound. By morning, the entire village had gathered in the chief's compound. Word had spread quickly. They caught someone. They caught the person causing the sickness. Hundreds of people filled the open space. The sick were brought on mats. The worried families stood together. Chief Obinna, a dignified elderly man, sat in his ceremonial chair. Beside him were the council of elders. Mama Adaeze was brought forward, her hands tied. She looked defiant, but fear flickered in her eyes. Mama Kemi stood before the crowd, holding the bag of sand. "People of our village," the chief's voice boomed. "We are gathered because something evil has been happening among us. Our people have been falling sick. Our blessings have been stolen. Today, we will discover the truth." He nodded to Mama Kemi. Mama Kemi stepped forward. "Last night, we caught this woman, Mama Adaeze, collecting sand from people's footprints in the middle of the night." Gasps rippled through the crowd. "What? Footprints? Why would anyone do that?" Mama Kemi raised her hand for silence. "Many of you may not know this, but there is an ancient dark practice. It is called footprint sorcery. When someone collects sand from your footprint and uses it in evil rituals, they can steal your strength, your luck, your blessings. They can curse you. They can transfer your good fortune to themselves." The crowd erupted in anger and fear. "This is what has been happening to our people," Mama Kemi continued. "Mama Adaeze has been collecting sand from the footprints of the strongest, most successful, most beloved members of our community. She has been using it to curse them and transfer their blessings to herself." "Lies!" Mama Adaeze shouted. "This is all lies. You have no proof." Mama Kemi opened the bag and poured its contents on the ground. Out spilled not just sand, but also small bones, pieces of black cloth tied with red thread, dark powder that smelled terrible, pieces of paper with names written on them. "No proof," Mama Kemi challenged. "Then whose names are written on these papers?" She picked up the papers and began reading. Chitty the farmer, Papa Obi the elder, Sister Blessing the trader, Brother Emmanuel the teacher. Each person named gasped. These were the exact people who had fallen mysteriously ill. "And look at this bag itself," Mama Kemi said, showing everyone. "Inside, there are different compartments, each one labeled with a person's name, each one containing sand from their footprints." The evidence was overwhelming. The crowd began shouting, "Evil woman! She cursed our people. She must pay." Chief Obinna raised his staff for silence. He looked at Mama Adaeze with disappointed, stern eyes. "Mama Adaeze, what do you have to say for yourself?" For a long moment, Mama Adaeze said nothing. She looked at the angry faces surrounding her. She saw the evidence laid out before everyone. There was no escape. Suddenly, she laughed. A cold, bitter laugh. Yes, I did it, and I'm glad I did." The crowd fell silent in shock. Mama Adaeze's face twisted with rage and bitterness. All her carefully hidden evil poured out. "You want to know why? I'll tell you why. For years I suffered in this village. My husband died and left me with nothing. Nothing. I had no children to help me. I was alone. And what did any of you do? Nothing. You gave me pity, but not real help. You looked down on me. You forgot about me. Meanwhile, she pointed at Chitty, his farm prospered while mine failed. She pointed at Sister Blessing. Her business grew while I remained poor. Them. She gestured wildly at others. They had families, children, joy, respect. What did I have? Nothing. So yes, I took what should have been mine. I used the power that was available to me. If you all had shared your blessings with me, I wouldn't have had to take them by force." The crowd was stunned by her shameless confession. Papa Obi, weak but present, spoke up. Mama Adaeze, we tried to help you many times. You refused. You pushed everyone away. You chose isolation, not us. Lies, she screamed. You gave scraps. Scraps. While you lived in abundance. Mama Kemi stepped forward, her voice sad but firm. Mama Adaeze, bitterness poisoned your heart. The spirits you called upon to steal from others have also stolen from you. They stole your humanity. They stole your peace. And now, they will demand their price. What price? Mama Adaeze scoffed. I feel fine. Better than I've felt in years. I have money now. My farm is producing. The curse worked for me. Mama Kemi shook her head slowly.
You don't understand.
The ritual you performed has a law. The dark spiritualist who taught you should have warned you clearly. When footprint sorcery is exposed, when the community discovers it, the curse returns to the sender. Not just once, but tenfold. Everything you stole will return to its owners. And everything you gave away, your peace, your soul, your humanity, will be lost forever. Mama Adaeze's smile faltered. That's not true. You're trying to scare me. Am I? Mama Kemi's eyes were serious. You made a deal with dark spirits. Did you really think there would be no consequences? Suddenly, Mama Adaeze felt it.
A sharp pain in her chest.
Mama Adaeze clutched her chest and stumbled backward. The crowd watched in shock and fear. What's happening to me? She gasped. Mama Kemi spoke calmly, but firmly. The curse is returning. The spirits are collecting their debt.
No.
This wasn't supposed to happen. I was careful. I did everything right. You were not careful, Mama Kemi said. You were caught. You were exposed. The one rule of dark magic is that it must remain hidden. Once revealed to the light, it loses its power, and it rebounds. Mama Adaeze fell to her knees. Her skin began to look gray. Her body began to shake. All the pain, all the weakness, all the suffering she had inflicted on others, it was coming back to her. But worse than the physical pain was something else. She could feel her mind unraveling. Fear gripped her heart. Loneliness crushed her spirit. All the negative emotions she had sent to others through her curses, depression, anxiety, despair, confusion, they all came flooding back into her soul. She screamed. Not in physical pain, but in spiritual torment. The crowd watched, terrified. Some people covered their children's eyes. Chief Obinna stood. Take her to the isolation hut. Mama Kemi, do what you can to help her. But she must face the consequences of her actions. As the village men led Mama Adaeze away, she was no longer the defiant, arrogant woman from minutes ago. She was broken, crying,
begging, please.
Somebody help me. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Make it stop. Make it stop. But it wouldn't stop.
Not for a long time.
With Mama Adaeze's evil exposed, Mama Kemi immediately began the purification rituals. She gathered all the victims together. Chitty, Papa Obi, Sister Blessing, Brother Emmanuel, and others. For 3 days and 3 nights, she performed cleansing ceremonies. She burned the evil artifacts from Mama Adaeze's bag. She prepared special baths for the victims. She said prayers and called upon ancestral spirits for healing. Slowly, miraculously, the victims began to recover. Chitty felt strength returning to his body. Within a week, he was back in his fields, working. Papa Obi's mind cleared. His memory returned. His wisdom shone once again. Sister Blessing's business suddenly turned around. Customers returned. Money flowed again. Brother Emmanuel's depression lifted. The dark cloud that had hung over him disappeared. He returned to teaching with joy. One by one, everyone who had been affected began to heal. Their crops revived. Their animals recovered. Their families rejoiced. The village held a massive Thanksgiving ceremony. They sang, they danced, they gave offerings to the ancestors for protection and guidance. Little Amara was honored for her bravery and observation. The chief himself praised her. This child saved our village by paying attention when others didn't, he announced. Let her courage be an example to everyone, especially our youth. No matter how young you are, your voice and your observations matter. Amara's parents were so proud. The whole village celebrated her. But there was still the matter of Mama Adaeze. For weeks, Mama Adaeze remained in the isolation hut, suffering. The curse that returned to her was indeed tenfold. Every pain she had inflicted came back to her multiplied. She couldn't sleep. Nightmares tormented her constantly. She couldn't eat. Everything tasted like ash. Her body ached in ways that couldn't be described. But worst of all was the loneliness. A crushing, suffocating loneliness that made her feel like she was drowning in darkness. Mama Kemi visited her daily, bringing medicine and prayers. "Why are you helping me?" Mama Adaeze asked weakly one day. "After what I did, why don't you just let me die?" Mama Kemi's face was kind but firm. "Because that's not who we are. Yes, you did evil. Yes, you must face consequences. But we are not monsters. We will help you survive this. What you do after that is up to you." Slowly, very slowly, over the course of 3 months, the worst of the curse passed. Mama Adaeze survived. But she was changed. The woman who emerged from the isolation hut was different. She looked older, frilier. But more importantly, something in her spirit was broken. Her pride, her arrogance, her bitterness. They were gone. What remained was a hollow, broken woman who finally understood the weight of what she had done. The chief called her before the village again. "Mama Adaeze, you have faced the spiritual consequences of your actions. Now you must face the earthly consequences. You have 2 choices. You can leave this village and never return. Or you can stay, confess your wrongs publicly, ask for forgiveness, and spend the rest of your life serving this community in humility. Choose." Mama Adaeze, who once would have fled rather than humble herself, surprised everyone. She fell to her knees. Tears streamed down her face. "I choose to stay," she said, her voice broken. "I choose to stay and spend every day of my remaining life trying to make amends for the evil I did. I know I can never fully repay the suffering I caused. But I want to try. Please, please give me that chance." The village was silent. Then Chitty, the farmer she had cursed first, stepped forward. "I forgive you, Mama Adaeze." Papa Obi followed. "I forgive you." Sister Blessing came next. "I forgive you." One by one, all her victims came forward and spoke the words of forgiveness. By the end, Mama Adaeze was crying so hard she could barely breathe. But these were tears of release, tears of redemption, tears of finally understanding what she had lost and what she could still become. 2 years passed. The village returned to peace and prosperity. But something beautiful happened that no one expected. Mama Adaeze, the former evil widow, became one of the most dedicated servants in the village. Every morning, she woke up before dawn and swept the village paths, the same paths where she once collected footprints for evil. She helped Mama Kemi gather herbs and prepare medicine. Hands that once prepared curses now prepared healing. She visited the sick, the elderly, the lonely. Her presence, once a source of fear, now brought comfort. She worked in the farms of those she had cursed, helping them without pay, just to serve. She sat with children and warned them. "Never let bitterness grow in your heart. See what it did to me? I wasted years of my life in hatred and envy. Those years are gone forever. Don't make my mistake." The village watched this transformation with amazement. "Is this really the same woman?" people whispered. "She's changed completely." Others marveled. One evening, Mama Adaeze was sitting with Mama Kemi grinding herbs. "Mama Kemi," she said quietly, "do you think the ancestors can ever truly forgive me?" Mama Kemi smiled gently. "The ancestors are watching. They see your heart. They see your work. Redemption is always possible for those who truly seek it. You've proven that. I have nightmares still about the things I did. You will carry those scars forever. But scars are also reminders, reminders to never return to that path." Mama Adaeze nodded. Thank you for not giving up on me. For seeing that even someone like me could change. Everyone can change, Mama Kemi said. But most people don't want to. You wanted to. That made all the difference. 3 years after the incident, the village held a special gathering. Chief Obinna stood before the people. Today, I want us to remember the story of Mama Adaeze. Not to shame her, but to learn from it. He called Mama Adaeze forward. She came, humble, her head respectfully bowed. This woman, the chief said, taught us many lessons. Let us speak them aloud, so we never forget. He turned to the crowd. What did we learn? One by one, people spoke. We learned that bitterness and envy will destroy us from within. We learned that evil always has consequences, even if they come slowly. We learned that what we do in secret will eventually be revealed. We learned that stealing others' blessings will never bring us true happiness. We learned that forgiveness is more powerful than revenge. We learned that even the worst person can change if they truly want to. We learned that children's voices matter. Little Amara saved us all. We learned that community must watch out for each other. The chief nodded. All of these are true, but I will add one more lesson. He looked at Mama Adaeze with compassion. We learned that when someone is suffering, we must reach out, truly reach out, before their pain turns to poison. Mama Adaeze was in pain for years. Yes, she pushed us away. But did we try hard enough? Did we persist in showing love even when it was rejected? The village fell silent. It was an uncomfortable truth. I'm not saying her actions were our fault, the chief continued. She made her own choices. But as a community, we must ask ourselves, how can we ensure no one else falls into such darkness? How can we catch the signs earlier? It was a profound moment of collective reflection. Mama Adaeze spoke, her voice shaking. Chief, please don't blame the village. This was my evil, my choice. I take full responsibility. The village tried. I rejected their help. That was my fault, no one else's. The chief smiled sadly. Your honesty honors you. But still, we can all do better. He addressed the crowd. From this day forward, let no widow, no orphan, no struggling person in this village feel forgotten. Let us create a system where everyone is checked on, where everyone is seen, where no one's pain goes unnoticed. The village agreed, and they implemented new practices, regular visits to the isolated, community support systems, and an open-door policy where anyone could ask for help without shame.